Philly 100.
Welcome, Christina Perri. How you doing?
Hello. Yay. I'll help with the clapping.
So great for you to be out here. And unfortunately, you get to come on one of the rainiest days of the entire year.
Is this really the rainiest day?
It's one of them. I mean,
really?
It's a huge storm outside. I mean, it was just
I
blowing
love it,
against
though. It's
everything.
very Portland.
But you're from kind of like the colder area because you actually grew up in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah. Grew up in Philly, had winters and all that stuff, went sledding, love the snow, love the rain. In LA, when it rains, people it'll drizzle in LA, just spitting basically, and people will slow down on the highway because they don't know what to do. I find that ridiculous.
That's kind of like California people when it does rain. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, but up here, I mean, it makes sense. Everyone's fine. But so I can handle it. I can handle the rain.
Good. Okay, good. I got first off, since you are from Philly, though, what is the best? Is it really Geno's?
No.
No?
Pat's.
Pat's?
Yeah,
I know.
Geno's?
You always hear Geno's and Pat's.
No
I've never been
way.
there.
Okay, I'll tell you why. First of all, it's neither, if you want my honest opinion. That's where all the tourists go.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always but out of the two, Pat's is better than Geno's. And the reason is because Geno's is covered in all these neon signs.
Yeah.
And it's so flashy and gauche. And that is clearly proof that they don't have the best cheesesteak because they have the most advertising and they're very, flashy. When Pat's is we don't need any of that stuff.
Yeah.
They've got a sign, Pat's, and that makes it better. But if you want my favorite cheesesteak in Philly, it's Steve's, Prince of Steaks, in the Northeast.
Okay, good. Well, in case if people didn't know we're talking about Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. So
Yeah.
Steve's, fantastic.
Clearly, most important thing to talk about Philly.
Yeah, that's
Don't
right.
mind the Liberty Bell or anything.
Don't forget. What's that? Let's get into, of course, you got a brand new single out, and your new album actually comes out in just a few months, in April, right?
Yes, April 1st.
April 1st. Looking forward to that. It's going to be actually, it's going to be called Head or Heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got a brand new song, actually, that, is actually pretty much blowing up. But since your last song, or your last big single off it, obviously a lot of people know from the not Breaking Bad, but the
I wish it was Breaking Bad. I love that
Breaking
show.
Dawn
Breaking
soundtrack,
Dawn, yeah.
the Twilight Saga. I mean,
Yeah.
that must have been huge for you, just because it was your debut album too, or that was one of your first songs that you did have that kind of really blew up.
That was so wonderful. I mean, that happened. Jar of Hearts came out first, but then that was along with my album cycle, and that was a little bit more kind of predicted. Whereas 1,000 Years came out of nowhere because it was this song I wrote for this film. But I mean, I wrote a song for that movie like I thought a million other people did. I thought everybody writes, for movies, and so I had no idea that they were going to pick the song, and then I really had no idea they were going to pick it. And that it would be a single, and then it would become the swan song of the whole saga, be in the final film, the last 6 minutes of the whole film. I did a whole nother version of it with an orchestra, and so it was on both soundtracks, and I toured the country with the whole cast, and I was just part of that whole crew. When, if anyone knew in 2008 that I was here in Portland getting a Twilight tattoo because it was my favorite book.
Yeah.
That just would freak anyone out, including me. It still freaks me out, honestly.
So you obviously were a big Twilight fan of the book series before they adapted to the movies.
For sure. So I was quite possibly the best choice person to write a song for this film because I could talk about it for days. So I remember the marketing and all the people at Summit were oh my gosh, she actually likes this film. Send her to the interviews, and then I would just talk about it because I just loved it so much.
Well, that's great. It's it's sold millions and millions of albums. You have your last album too was 4 times certified platinum. So I mean, that's just
wonderful.
That's got to be wonderful. Obviously, living in LA now, do you get a lot of press or people that recognize you, especially since you have become so big now, especially after that film? Do Twilight fans recognize you at all if you walked in in one of the malls or anything?
Yeah, Twilight kind of took my career and catapulted it to a global platform.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, Jar of Hearts and Love Strong and my songs and everything, they were moving along, and I'm a slow and steady climber anyway. I kind of love that. And so, but when the Twilight thing happened, the fans are worldwide and massive and passionate. And so, yeah, if I'm near a Twilight fan, they recognize me for sure, even though I dyed my hair And even if I cover up all my tattoos, it's almost like they can just smell me, like they just know. They know I'm there. So yeah, I get that a lot.
Great. Well, your new album's coming up in April, like we mentioned. You have a new single called Human. What was the influences behind that compared to your last one about the movie of Twilight? What is your influences? What's the story behind Human now?
Well, 1,000 Years was actually the first song I ever wrote that wasn't about me or my experiences, which was cool as a songwriter because I didn't even know I could do that. Like, because my first album was kind of a breakup album because everyone would say their first album is like basically their whole life. And then the joke is that the second album is just like, the last 6 months of your life. And I hate to say that that's kind of true, but something really cool happened when I was done with the whole first album cycle and the whole Twilight thing, and I was kind of getting ready to do album 2. I stopped and I was like, I'm just not gonna do another album unless it's authentic, unless it comes to me in form of like fully like an inspirational way. And if I'm inspired to say something, I'll say it, but I'm not gonna force it. There's just no way. And so I was like planning on taking a break, and then what happened was 2 weeks after I got home from that whole thing, it was 27 months I was on tour, and I got home, and literally 14 days later I wrote this song called Trust, which is the first song off of Head or Heart. And I wrote Trust, and then I was like, oh my gosh, the album will be called Head or Heart, and half the songs are going to be heart songs and half will be head songs, and this is what I want to say. And I realized that the way to sort of skip out of all that second album pressure is if I just tell the truth. So then I was like, oh man, I got it, because I don't really know how not to tell the truth. Honestly, I'm really open. And so I just wrote about my experiences, but then, it's a really long answer, sorry. No. Then Human happened, which took me again to a whole nother level of songwriting, because it was the first time I had written a song about myself. I normally write about relationships with other people or in a more general way. And for the first time, I realized that maybe it's not everyone else's fault. I don't know if that's at 27. I'm getting this little, sliver of wisdom. But I have a couple songs on the new album that are about dealing with myself. And Human was the first one I had written like that, where I had to forgive myself for something that had happened. And I really didn't even think it would make the album, let alone be the first single, because it was so personal. And I think that it's a very, very common thing that we, believe in something, trust something, build something, work on something, whatever it is, a relationship or work or family, friends, and it kind of ends or falls apart or breaks or whatever. Then there's this like weird gray area where we sort of pretend that we're okay. And that's what the song is about, that very specific area where you have to forgive yourself before you try again at whatever that thing is. And so that's what I did in my personal life. And then I wrote a song about it, and now it's called Human, and it's the first single.
Well, great. I love the music video for it. It's out actually right now. Talking to Christina Perri right now, Head or Heart, brand new album comes out April 1st. And very excited for that because this new single's out. And, of course, you will be back in Portland in May at the Wonder Ballroom, right?
Yes, that is true.
I know you love the Portland weather. We will keep some of this rain maybe until then for you to
I
come
wouldn't
back.
mind. I wouldn't.
All right, fantastic. Make sure you check out her Facebook and Twitter accounts, too. You got 4.5 million people on Facebook and pretty much 1 million on Twitter, too. So it's just growing and growing.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Christina Perri, thank you so much for coming in today.
Well, thank you for having me.